Yo, guys, we were just about to get to the place we're going, and shoes and shit in there. I wonder if there's a dead body nearby.
In the late hours of May 29th, 2021, an aspiring YouTuber named Marc Williams would go out for drinks with one of his fans. However, although he would start as a fan, originally reaching out to Marc in the comment section of a since-deleted video, Marc now considered this man a friend who would literally stab Marc in the back and brutally attack him in the woods for over an hour, eventually leading to his murder, all while he recorded the entire thing in what would become a disturbing and brutal snuff film. That night, around 11:30 p.m., as the pair stood on the side of the road near a wooded area around Uckfield, England, after a night of drinking, Marc would call his aunt while walking home from the bar, letting her know that he was heading home and intended to arrive shortly. Alongside him was fan, friend, and occasional collaborator Lewis Ashdown. During the call, it was obvious that Marc was intoxicated. He had received a call to meet up with Lewis and originally had gone out for drinks with his younger brother. The two eventually parted so Marc could meet up with Lewis. However, during the call to his aunt, Lewis would chime in and let her know that they would be careful on the trek back. Undoubtedly a relief for the aunt, because while Marc sounded noticeably drunk, Lewis had sounded calm and composed with his wits about him. And after all, a sober friend during a night out could be a lifesaver. Reportedly, Lewis had told her, "Don't worry, I'll make sure he gets home okay." So I'm sure Marc's aunt took great relief in the fact that he was there. But unknown to anyone at the time, this relieving revelation would actually be a sign of something terrible to come, as 5 days later, after a long and grueling search that required the help of hundreds of people, the police would locate the body of Marc floating in a pool of water in a secluded section of woods, around 3 miles from where he had made the call, with over 100 stab wounds. So how did this fun night turn so tragic? Looking back, no phenomenon quite took over the internet like parkour. Everyone was doing it, myself included, and those who were good at it were racking up millions of views on YouTube. Although some of you would likely disagree with me, I can't help but feel like urban exploring is an offshoot of this trend, or at least the aspect of it that Marc was interested in, as he watched massive creators sneak into abandoned or closed locations, climb large buildings and cranes, and perhaps above all else, have daring encounters with security in which they would need to use their skills to escape. This is evident by the fact Marc created a channel on February 19th, 2019, originally called RoofTube and later rebranded as Displace, with the description declaring it a parkour free-running channel in the UK. Despite this, Marc would only have one video on his channel dedicated specifically, at least in name, to parkour, with 9 of his currently uploaded videos featuring some kind of escape or encounter with police or security, including his oldest upload, Escape Churchill Square Security Rooftop Parkour POV, which was uploaded on May 14th of the same year. One comment on this video would read, "The quality of this video is bad, but still really entertaining." Marc was chasing the dream I'm sure many of us possess, and many more possess each day. The dream of having complete control over your life, being your own boss, making a living from YouTube or other social platform, and being able to survive doing what you love. It was this dream, the dream of becoming a successful YouTuber, that would fuel Marc to upload at least 35 videos in the span of about 2 years, highlighting the thrilling adventures he was going on, although it is said some have since been deleted. But even though progress was slow, taking Marc around 6 months to reach 100 subscribers, which is actually better than 75% of all accounts, he was starting to be recognized around town, a small glimpse of the success and fame he had been chasing. This is evident by the fact that in a video uploaded on July 7th, 2019, entitled Escaped Security at the Amex, Falmer Stadium, Marc would have this wholesome encounter with a viewer in the comments. "Saw you today at Uckfield. Excellent. When are you posting it? If my camera works, I can upload it tonight if you want. Yes, please do. I think I'm in it. Congrats on 100 followers. Yeah, you are. And thanks. 100 subs special, coming soon." I'm sure it was gratifying to know that not only were viewers enjoying his content, they actively wanted more. They wanted to see more of Marc. But since Marc's content frequently features trespassing and running from security, it faced a fair share of controversy as well. Like in his next upload on September 14th, 2019, entitled Uckfield Carnival 2019 on a rooftop, in which he and a friend, or likely his younger brother, would be caught and questioned by police after climbing the roof of a local building to view the carnival. In that video, prior to being caught, almost comedically, Marc would declare that the police wouldn't be able to reach them on the roof. One user in the comments would also shame them for their actions. On November 3rd, 2020, Marc would make a video entitled, When Life Gives You Idiots, Make a Video, in which he would discuss a group harassing him by disliking his videos and accusing him of filming himself committing criminal offenses. He would go on to say that the dislikes do not bother him and that trespassing was not an act that you could be arrested for in the UK, since, as he put it, it is a civil matter.
Hi guys, right, as you've probably guessed, this is not a climbing video. First off, I'm going to go with trespassing, because this is really pissing me off. Every time I see the comment of trespassing's illegal, I just get so pissed off with all of you. I really do. Trespassing is not a criminal offence. It is a civil matter, which means you can't get arrested for it. Also, the same couple of people that go around disliking all my videos, I'm not bothered. You can keep doing it. It does not affect my channel in any way, shape or form.
But after some searching, it would appear that Marc is mostly correct in this assessment. And while trespassing can be considered a criminal offense, such as in the event of what is described as aggravated trespassing, or when it occurs at certain locations, what Marc is doing is likely not a criminal offense. However, in addition to all of these messages of support or disapproval coming in, Marc would also receive a notification from a 19-year-old man named Lewis Ashdown, who lived nearby and wanted to join Marc on some of his adventures. Although, this comment is not under any video still up on Marc's channel, either through the comment being deleted or Marc removing the video it was under. But Marc would agree to meet Lewis, since Marc's brother had gracefully bowed out from the channel, and Lewis would quickly graduate from fan to collaborator to friend, with 4 out of 5 of the most recent videos on Marc's channel featuring Lewis.
Oh guys, I never introduced him. This is Lewis.
Hi guys, I'm back here with Lewis.
Hi guys, I am with Lewis.
However, in March of 2021, Marc would host a live stream on YouTube in which he told his viewers he was uncertain about the future of the channel, as he was studying to get his security qualifications, and in his words, didn't want to do anything that could mess that up for him.
I am not sure where my channel is going to go. I don't know if I'm going to keep doing these videos. I don't know if I'm going to be doing different videos or whether I'm going to stop completely. At this point in time, I don't know. I've been trained to get my SIA license over the past couple of weeks, and I can't really risk that. But I'm not sure at the moment. I need to talk with Lewis some more, work something out.
As ironic as that may be, given the history of his content, this would also potentially be a reason Marc was deleting several unknown videos from his channel. But this was a decision Marc was not having an easy time making, however, as he loved exploring, climbing, and doing parkour. It just wasn't paying the bills. It wasn't paying anything. And Marc knew that. Again, in his own words, he knew that he needed to grow up.
I know, I do want to stay, you know. I love doing this shit, but at the end of the day, I'm going to have to grow the fuck up because, you know, I can keep doing this. I mean, Ali Law still does it. He's in his 20s. He's doing good for himself. You know, good for him. But I'm hardly an athlete. I'm hardly a pro at this kind of thing.
On top of this, he was also suffering from a back injury, and as a result, found it difficult and at times outright painful to climb and run, the latter being harder for him every day. He would admit that he was the reason behind this, however, as he, as of yet, had not made an attempt to seek medical attention for his injury.
He's seeming like he wants to get back into climbing and stuff. I haven't actually done it since Christmas, and I've got a bad back. It's been getting worse and worse lately. Don't know why. I need to go to the hospital and have myself checked out. I have to face reality, especially with my back getting worse. I can barely run anymore. But I'm doing my best to try and work through it.
However, some of his viewers would rally behind him with support, including one user under the name of Morale Unknown, who would later identify himself as Lewis. He would comment that he was intending to create his own channel and stated that he had several good ideas and encouraged Marc to come along. Lewis, as well as other viewers, would successfully convince Marc not to give up on his channel just yet. Although the channel's activity had been a little turbulent throughout the years, sometimes going on a hiatus before returning later, Marc seemed willing to chase that childhood dream of his one more time.
You know what, guys? I will give my channel another shot. I've already plugged in my action cam to start charging it. Alright, I'll give the channel another go.
And on April 1st, 2021, Marc would upload a video of Lewis and himself sneaking into Buxt Park Hotel, a suggestion Lewis had made on stream. Then, 20 days later, Marc would upload his final video, a solo climb entitled Climbing Construction in Eastbourne, with a description, a quick video I made while I was drunk. Don't try this at home, kids. Marc was known to drink, something that would be shown off multiple times in his videos. However, it was this, should I say pastime of his, that would ultimately spell the end. Because on May 29th, 2021, a little over a month since his last upload, as he sat at home, Marc's phone would light up when a new message arrived from Lewis, asking to meet Marc out for drinks later that night. Marc would agree and bring his younger brother to a pub to go and meet Lewis. I have seen several reports stating Marc had purchased alcohol, while others say that they went to an actual pub or bar. With conflicting reports, I'm unsure which is true. However, when the fact Marc's brother was with him was conveyed to Lewis, he would begin to act a little weird, initially stating that he did not feel comfortable going out and drinking with Marc if his brother was with him. He would tell Marc that this was because his brother was underage, and although they had no issue with trespassing or running from authorities, underage drinking seemed to be just a step too far for Lewis, or so he claims. Marc, however, would accept this excuse, and after a couple of drinks with his brother, he and Marc would part ways. His brother would head home, and Marc would head to another location to meet up with Lewis. That night, Marc would drink more and more as he had a good time out with his friend. But Lewis, who claimed to have been drinking, seemed to not be consuming very much, at times holding the same glass for an extended period of time without taking very many, if any, sips of it. It is also reported that Lewis would encourage Marc to continue to drink more and more, at times maybe even lying to him about the amount of alcohol in his drink. Within hours, Marc would be intoxicated, while Lewis likely remained sober. As previously mentioned, the two would find themselves along a strip of road in Uckfield, when a call would be placed to Marc's aunt, whom he lived with alongside his grandmother. This call would come through at 11:30 p.m. The aunt, confident in her nephew's safe arrival thanks to the kind and seemingly responsible words of Lewis, would not be too concerned. That is, of course, until neither of the boys had arrived home by 8 a.m. the following morning. Almost immediately, word would be sent out, and the police would begin searching for the two missing teenagers. But the day would come and go, and the police would still be unable to locate the two. However, in the early hours of the following morning, police would obtain security footage of Lewis in Crowborough, a town roughly 10 miles north of Uckfield, with the CCTV footage being timestamped at 12 hours past the phone call to Marc's aunt. Marc would not be seen in this tape. In an effort to rally the public, Lewis's mom would take to Facebook, saying, "Please, has anyone seen or heard from my son Lewis Ashdown? He's been missing for over 13 hours, which is extremely unlike him. Last seen in Crowborough, 11 o'clock, leaving the White Hart pub, turning towards town. He's wearing a white Adidas hoodie and gray Nike shorts, and a black baseball hat. He's 19, slim built, around 5'8", brown hair, blue eyes, and glasses. Please contact me or police 999 as extremely worried police are aware and looking." She would follow up the next day posting, "Day 3 without you. My heart is completely breaking. Please, Louis, come home. I'm lost without you." That day, however, her prayers would be answered when they returned home, or at the very least, Lewis would, with his mother reportedly saying that nothing seemed unusual about him. He seemed calm, collected, and had shown no signs of distress. It is unclear if Lewis offered her an explanation as to why he had been missing or where Marc had gone. As is the case when two go missing and only one returns, the police had a few things to ask Lewis, likely hoping to get any kind of clue as to what happened that night, and perhaps even find the slightest clue of where Marc had gone. But when they arrived at Lewis's home, he wouldn't be there, already leaving to head to an unknown location. In a last-ditch effort, however, the police would ask Lewis's mom if they could search his room, which she would ultimately allow. Inside, they found everything you would expect to find in the room of someone Lewis's age, but the real discovery would come when they checked his hamper and found the clothes Lewis had been wearing the night he went out drinking with Marc. His basketball shorts, his hat, his red hoodie, except it wasn't red. The white Adidas hoodie Lewis's mother stated he had been wearing the night he went missing was now soaked in blood. The police would discover that the blood did not belong to Lewis. Instead, it had belonged to Marc. They did not 100% know Marc had been murdered as of yet, but given his disappearance and the quantity of blood on Lewis's clothes, it was definitely a possibility, and Lewis was definitely a person of interest. Meaning once again, the hunt was on for both boys, each for different reasons. I know what you're all thinking. Lewis had gone on the run. He's off laying low somewhere, where no one can find him. But this would not actually be the case. Instead, Lewis had gone out to play football or soccer with some friends, and afterwards reportedly went to go see a horror movie. Longtime viewers of the channel may remember a previous video I did about shocking crimes inspired by movies, but unlike many of the articles written mentioning this fact, I think we all know that it is irrelevant to the actual crime, regardless of the similarities. After the movie, Lewis would then head to a friend's house where the two would drink, and Lewis would confess everything that he had done. On top of that, Lewis would show his friend video proof that he had murdered Marc Williams, a gruesome and violent attack that had lasted almost an hour. Despite the fact the body of Marc had still not yet been found at this point, when the police would locate Lewis, they would arrest him, then, after seeing the videos on his phone, formally hold him under the suspicion of the murder. Lewis's friend confesses that Lewis and he had gotten drunk when Lewis confessed to the murder, reportedly laughing as the videos he had captured of the murder played, telling his friend that he stabbed Marc when he began to become, in his words, annoying. This would both be ironic and tragic, as on Marc's last livestream, he would offer tips to his viewers on how to stay safe during their own adventures. These tips would include bringing a friend who you trust with you. He would even highlight that this was who Lewis was to him. Clearly, Lewis thought otherwise. Lewis would go on to say that Marc had bent over to throw up in the woods. He had taken out his knife and quite literally stabbed Marc in the back. Marc would fall to the ground and begin begging Lewis, the man he had perceived as being his friend, for help, asking him to spare him and to call an ambulance. Lewis would just tell Marc to shut up, take out his phone and begin recording, and begin stabbing again. It is also reported that Lewis would kick Marc in the head, as well as hit him with a large tree branch. Some would suggest that this attack may have been a form of retaliation, and that it was possible Marc had made an attempt to become intimate with Lewis prior to the attack. A rumor and theory quickly dispelled by Lewis's own recount of the night, and the fact that Lewis had brought a weapon from home that night, meaning he likely fully intended to commit this act, as opposed to it being some visceral reaction. He would later tell his friend that Marc had deserved to die, and that he ultimately felt good about doing it, as if he had done everyone a favor. He would say that he had thought about doing it for some time, and was very glad that he had finally gone through with it. As the video played, showing Lewis stabbing Marc all over his body 107 times, Lewis began laughing, and continued to laugh, as the video showed him ripping Marc's eyes out of his body. It is reported that all the footage that had been captured of his crimes that night, spanning across 7 videos, would total up to almost an hour, meaning he would continue to film and brutalize Marc for a longer amount of time than if you were to sit down and watch this video 3 times. As I mentioned before, Marc would be stabbed a total of 107 times. Then, Lewis would find a body of water located in a secluded section of the woods, and after removing Marc's pants and underwear, for an unknown reason, would throw his body into the water. It is unknown if the actual disposal of the body was filmed by Lewis. Of course, Lewis would deny everything, including knowing the whereabouts of Marc. But despite this, while in custody, the police would eventually find Marc's body and formally charge Lewis with his murder. Lewis, however, would continue to refuse to offer a motive for his brutal and gruesome murder of Marc, other than perhaps what he told his friend, that being that Marc was annoying him. Lewis would ultimately plead guilty to these charges, and as a result, no trial would be held, or should I say, no type in which further evidence and a potential motive could be presented. The videos would not be played for the court due to their overly graphic nature. On October 28, 2021, Lewis would be given a life sentence. He will be eligible for parole one day, but will first need to serve a minimum of 27 years. A detective on the case named Emma Vickers would describe this as a horrendous and unprovoked attack on a young man who thought he was simply out enjoying an evening with a friend, adding that Lewis Ashdown took advantage of Marc's trust and friendship. Many of Marc's videos would be flooded with respectful messages, turning his channel into almost a type of memorial, with many sharing things they remembered or liked about Marc. However, one user by the name of Gabriella would take it upon themselves to copy and paste "He dead now, killed by Lewis" under almost every single comment on Marc's channel, at least those that were not already addressing his passing, sometimes even appearing under Marc's own comments. Well, that's about it for now. If you enjoyed this video, why not check out this one about 5 horrifying things found on 4chan. Subscribe, and I'll see you next time.